Today we're going to have a little bit of fun making some of our bed props. The beds come in 3 different sizes. We have singles, we got some double beds, we got bunk beds, and they all assemble basically the same way. Before I get started, I just want to show I printed off a sheet of the single and double beds, and I'll be working on a single bed just because it's smaller. And I have a cork-backed metal ruler, got some white glue that I'll be using to assemble things, a brown pen which hopefully will complement the printed textures as I go and color in the edges, and a snap blade knife to do the cutting. To get started, there's 3 basic pieces that are going to be put together. There's the body of the bed. We've got the headboard and the footboard that's going to stick to both ends. And then we have a pillow or 2 that you can throw onto the beds. I'm going to start by scoring right down the middle of these pillows. I'm just going to put 1 pillow on a single bed this time. And just to make my life a little bit easier, let's go and remove a couple of things. And this is laid out on the paper so that I could actually run a score line right down all of these frame pieces. But in this case, I'm just going to do what I need for this instruction video. Okay, so sure, spend a second here trimming this down to size. Okay, next up we're going to do these pieces here. I'm going to score right down the middle. And I'm not going to trim anything out just yet. I'm going to glue these together first, then I'm going to trim around them. Last step, we're going to do our scoring around the bed. Okay, with the scoring done, I can finish up and trim around the tabs on the bed here. Okay, I'm going to take a moment to fold all of these lines that I've scored, and then I'm going to use my brown pen to help color in. Now, if you have a nice selection of markers, you might want to go and choose a marker that'll complement the whatever kind of bedding you have chosen for this model. There. Now, I actually didn't go and color in the edges where the bedding is, and I'm going to see how that looks. Maybe afterwards I'll go back in with a light gray marker. Let's go ahead and get this partially assembled, and then we'll start to assemble the rest of the pieces too. Spread this on really thin to get good coverage, and I should be able to fold this nice and flat. All right, while I'm here, let's go ahead and get our pillow all set. Just a little bit of glue on this. Spread this out nice and thin. Fold it right in half. And here too, I've left the edges of this pillow white, but a light gray marker or a black marker would work fine there as well. And let's see what we can do about these pieces. We're just going to get some glue going in between here. I use the scrap to wipe off any excess off my fingers so I can go back in and really get this super thin. Too much of this white glue and it's going to warp the paper. You can already see that that's starting to warp there, but we're going to go and press this down. And a lot of times I'll sit this off to the side under something flat and heavy to let the glue dry, just to prevent any warping. But we'll just give that a few seconds while we finish up our bed. So I'm going to take each end, fold the rectangular flaps up so I can get at the tabs. Let's make sure we have glue all along those tabs. Just going to dab my finger into it, make sure we get into the corners, right up to the edge, wipe away the excess. And then I can fold this down. I'm going to hold it in place for a moment. And then we'll do the same on the other end. All right, we'll set that off to the side and let's trim out our bed ends. I guess for these tall straight pieces, sometimes I do this with a ruler, sometimes without, whatever you're comfortable with. I tend to hold the ruler so that it covers the textured area, so that if I do slip, I'm not going to slip and cut the piece I want to save. Whenever possible. This means if I slip, I'm only going to be cutting into that white area that I'm trimming away anyway, so those mistakes won't matter. All right, just make a couple of well-positioned cuts here and we'll be done. All right, let's get these pieces edged. This is a step that it does slow the process down, but it really can help cover up any imperfections you may have created while cutting. And the darkened edges really do make the model blend in with its surroundings much better than the stark white edge of the paper. Okay, let's finish the bed assembly. So you'll notice that there is a tall side and a short side. So the tall side is going to go at the head of the bed. The head is typically where the bedding is pulled down a little bit. So let's start with that. So I just got that whole end covered in glue, and I'm going to go and adhere this. And if I flip this up, what I'm going to try and do is make sure that the sides are aligned properly, but also the bed body itself is aligned with the bottom of the headboard here. Just a moment. All right, there you have it. There's the bed. Let's take a pillow. If you want to permanently attach it to the bed, no worries. We'll just go and add a little bit of glue. Just decide where we want to place this. And that's it. And the rest of the beds are going to be made in a similar fashion. If you need a double bed, same process. You're just going to want to make sure you have 2 pillows. And of course, with the bunks, what you'll find is that these end pieces, there are 2 glue spots on each end. So you're just going to want to do one and then the other.